Welcome everyone to this last session of this 9th MENA conference of the ICC. I will have the pleasure and the honor of interviewing Sami Houerbi, who will be paying tribute to the ICC and telling us about what his ICC journey has been so far. Hi Sami, thank you for having us.
Welcome.
You are wrapping up a long career with the ICC. Of almost 25 years, and it's a long and rich working experience that you had with different ICC teams and managers and leaders and experts. Thank you first of all for allowing us to have a glimpse of what this long journey has been about. And thank you foremost for having accepted to share with us some of the thoughts, suggestions, and also probably some of the wishes and dreams that you have for the ICC and international arbitration in the Middle East and in Africa. So you are a Tunisian lawyer. You had a journey that led you to visit most of the countries. And we're back here to Tunis for this conference. In between, how did your ICC journey start?
Thank you, Sana. Again, welcome here in Tunisia, in your home country. You will be surprised. In 1997, I joined the ICC because mainly of my German and French legal background. I joined the German team and dealing with the German-speaking jurisdictions, Switzerland, Germany, and Austria, in addition to other European countries, East European and North Europe. I spent 6 years working with the Secretariat. It was a unique experience, I can tell you. Looking back, I consider that this recruitment was quite daring of the ICC and visionary, because hiring a Tunisian and Mediterranean and African jurist to join the German team, it was quite daring. I'm grateful to the ICC. I'm grateful to Joachim Kuckenburg, my former recruiter, for the vision they had. I learned a lot at the Secretariat of the ICC from the best practitioners ever. To mention few, Professor Philippe Fouchard, Professor Ahmed Khouchairi, Professor Ibrahim Fadlallah, Dr. Briner.
A lot of good experiences and big masters to learn from, as I can tell. So you were hired for the German team. How did you end up dealing with the Middle East and Africa?
Actually, there was no dedicated team for the MENA and Africa region at that time, and I found myself naturally interested and involved in the MENA arbitration. And ICC took me the first initiatives dealing with the region. I can name one example. I was leading the project of the translation of the ICC rules from English to Arabic in 1998. I took part to the first trainings of the Institute abroad in the MENA region in Arabic and in French in some Western African countries.
So after 5 to 6 years in the Secretariat, what were your first impressions of international arbitration in the region?
I would say I had two main observations. The first observation that for a long time arbitration was used to serve ideological and political agenda while addressing at the same time more or less legitimate concerns. The arbitration environment was too ambiguous, and there was an apprehension towards international arbitration.
Why do you say so?
To understand this apprehension, it should be put in its historical context, what I would call the post-colonial trauma. You know that the first arbitration related to the MENA region and Africa were disputes with high-value economic disputes involving energy and infrastructure contracts, and quite often decided by tribunals seated abroad and composed mainly by Westerns. There was a perception that international arbitration was a new mechanism invented and used by the old powers and imposed on the new decolonized countries to continue having control over strategic sectors and to decide on sovereignty issues. I must say that some very, very unfortunate decision rendered in the late 50s came to reinforce this perception and to justify the fears of this generation.
So if I hear you, you're saying that this apprehension can somehow be explained by the region's recent history and geopolitical context. What else did this context inspire you?
You're right, and now this is my second observation. I was convinced that this problem, this apprehension was a generational problem, and I was convinced that there was a need to change the generation to demystify arbitration.
Oh, I see. To what extent do you think this led the ICC to consider creating this role of regional director for MENA and Africa? Because this is what you ended up actually being, the regional director for MENA and Africa of the ICC.
Yes, indeed. ICC had a strategy to expand globally by opening offices overseas, and they were already implementing it at that time. Anne-Marie Weitzel, who was the Secretary General of the ICC Court of Arbitration at that time, and who I consider as my mentor, was the first one to see the potential of opening this position, and she was supporting this from the day one.
So there was a strategy. Specifically, what was the plan that you had thought of, that you put together for the region to implement this strategy?
I would summarize the plan in main points. Get arbitration out of this ideological debate, give it rise to its acknowledgement as a technique to be mastered, as a know-how to be acquired, changing generation by involving more and more local players, and install trust.
What was the job about specifically? What did it cover? What did it entail, being the regional director for MENA and Africa for the ICC?
Yeah, to carry out this job, one should adhere to ICC values and to believe in ICC mission. Unlike other institutions, the ICC role was not only limited to settle disputes, but also to increase the awareness about ADR. My role was about this, but not only to increase our market share, but also to increase awareness about arbitration where needed.
And probably this goes beyond ADR and dispute resolution, right? I mean, does the ICC consider itself like a merchant of peace?
Indeed, ICC was found 100 years ago, and the founder, indeed, they were called the merchant of peace. Again, as I told you, because we have this mission not only to settle disputes, but to install peace through a peaceful settlement of disputes.
So going back to your mission of increasing awareness about arbitration and ADR in the region, how was it done exactly? How was it implemented?
My job was about to be constant in contact with all arbitration players, judges, students, academicians, politicians, government representatives, in-house counsel, lawyers. I traveled all around the region, from Dubai to Ramallah, from Tehran to Tashkent, from Lagos to Ibadan, from Johannesburg to Stellenbosch. We did conferences, arbitration days, trainings, all around the region. I must say I'm very grateful to the ICC and to the Secretary General, Alexander Fessas, and his predecessor, Andrea Calivares and Jason Fry, who believed in this mission and who was they were supporting me in my role.
Yeah, You sound like you were a traveling ambassador for the ICC.
Actually, Professor Tertier used to call me at that time notre ambassadeur itinérant, our traveling ambassador indeed.
Rightly so indeed. Can you share some of the challenges that you faced in this new role?
One of the biggest challenges I faced is resistance to change.
So what was the plan to overcome this resistance and to promote international arbitration in the region?
Two main ideas: helping generation to get involved in international arbitration and assist in developing arbitration as a generalized method of dispute resolution services. It's important here to pay tribute to Professor Tertier, who used to be at that time the president of the ICC Court of Arbitration, who was supportive to this plan. I must say, getting a new player in the scene wasn't that difficult task. The region experienced the emergence of a new generation, well-educated and who spoke fluently different languages and who had, different legal and linguistic backgrounds.
So, it looks like mission accomplished. Can you share some of the achievements that you are particularly proud of?
Actually, ICC contributed to numerous initiatives, notably by encouraging countries from the region to adopt the New York Convention, to change the judicial approach towards arbitration, and to have more arbitration-friendly jurisdictions.
Mm-hmm. Concretely, any numbers, statistics that you could share to illustrate the positive role that the ICC played in the region?
Yes, here the figures will speak for themselves. From 2006 to 2019, the number of parties from the region has tripled from less than 100 parties to almost 300 parties. The number of involving arbitrators from the region has doubled from 34 to 68. And the number of seats of arbitration in the region has been multiplied by 6, from 8 to 48. Although construction disputes remain predominant in the region, we see more and more disputes involving various sectors of the economy.
So you've been in the region, so active obviously, for a while. When did the process of creating an ICC office in the region really start?
Before launching the Today case management team, we started first a couple of years ago by opening a representative office to fight the misconception that ICC is a European or a French organization. ICC is a truly international organization. ICC has no ties whatever with any countries. The fact that ICC is based in Paris because the founder of ICC used to be French 100 years ago.
Oh yeah, important to note that. How did the ICC proceed to build a trust relationship with the region's practitioners, and how did the latter respond and participate in the process?
We proceeded by the launch of regional conferences in different languages. The MENA conference we have today, the 9th edition. The annual African conference in Lagos. The North African conference. The annual ICC conference in Turkey. And we do organize on a regular basis meeting with the in-house counsel and with the judges during these conferences.
So you organize conferences, obviously. Any other seminars or arbitration days you launch?
Yes, in addition to the global or regional conferences, we had arbitration days for specific countries, and we did it, I think, in the majority of the countries in the region, in Tehran, in Lusaka, in Algiers, in Casablanca, in Addis Ababa, in Khartoum, in Cairo, everywhere, Sana. In doing so, we involved all the players. We involved the judiciary, we involved law students, we involved academicians, in-house counsel, lawyers. Gender equality is in the heart of our action. As you know, the court member is composed 50% of women, and you are best placed to know that, Sana, as a court member. Young practitioners, we involved young practitioners all around the region, in Africa and the MENA. We did translate the entire documentation of ICC notes, guidelines, rules in different languages, in Arabic, in Turkish, in Farsi, in Hebrew. I think this office, with the support, by the way, of Dania Fahas, has achieved so many objectives and reached milestones that had paved the way to the final goal, which is the opening of the Today Case Management Team in Abu Dhabi.
What do you think this office adds to the international arbitration landscape in the region?
I think it's, as I told you at the beginning, it's part of the global ICC strategy to expand and to get closer to its users. You know that we have offices overseas in Hong Kong, in New York, in Sao Paulo, and since the arrival of Alexi Moore, this process has been accelerated. And I have here to say the opportunity really to extend my gratitude and to thanks to Alexi Moore, the president of the court, who was a key element in the realization of this project. In addition to Alexi Moore, I would like also to extend my thanks and gratitude to Alexander Fessas, the current Secretary General, for the hard work he has provided and to lead the negotiation and to conclude all the negotiation within a very short time period.
Going back to you, Sami, after this very honorable journey with the ICC and all these achievements, is there anything you think that is still worth fighting for to promote international arbitration in the Middle East and Africa?
I will address here a topic that is close to my heart, which is the language of arbitration. Because I believe that the use of different languages can really help to promote arbitration, to make it accepted. It's a fact that ICC is the only institution that offers and allows parties to administer and to have arbitration in the language of their choice. As you know, the staff of the Secretariat and the court members, they speak so many languages and they are able to run, to administer and scrutinize awards in different languages. Nevertheless, English is becoming predominant in international arbitration, and this is not going to change soon again, and there is no reason to change. But we as practitioners from the region, we have the duty and the responsibility to encourage the use of different languages for the main reason to make arbitration more inclusive and to make arbitration accepted in the entire region. We have the duty and the responsibility to use different language in arbitration when needed and when appropriate.
When needed and when appropriate. When is it needed and when is it appropriate?
It is needed namely because the use of different language in international arbitration will contribute to greater diversity in international arbitration. And it is appropriate as well. And let me give you a compelling example. Just recently, I came across a 10 years complex construction and operation contract concluded between a North African party, French-speaking party, with the North European party. Everything was negotiated, drafted in French, documents, contracts, annexes. The arbitration clause was drafted in French as well, but at the end, the arbitration clause stipulates that in case of disputes, the proceedings will be in English. How can we, with this clause, make arbitration accepted everywhere? And how can we promote local practitioners, local firms, and local arbitrators with this kind of arbitration clause?
Yeah, that's understandable. How do you see the future of international arbitration in the region in the years to come?
I think that the margin of progress is huge. Geopolitical changes, the economic growth in the region, and the sophistication of the new generation and the new player will all contribute to the development of arbitration in the region. And the opening of our new case management office in Abu Dhabi will help as well in this growth of arbitration in the entire region, I hope.
So thank you for this great overview of what promoting international arbitration in the region has been. Going back to a little bit more personal aspects of your journey with the ICC, I'm curious to know, are there any regrets, any sad memories that you can share with us? Let's start with the regrets first. Any regret?
Maybe the regret I have today is my criminal conviction as an arbitrator in Qatar. But what I regret more than the condemnation of my person is the discredit that this decision has thrown at the work that we have been doing with the entire community and even with our Qatari arbitration colleagues and friends, and on the image of arbitration in the entire region as well.
That's understandable as well. And sorry for talking about this, but any sad memories as well that you're taking with you?
Sad memories. I would say the loss of maybe of Mirai Rashid, who was a friend and our YAF representative from Lebanon, and who embodied, in my view, the symbol of the modern Arab woman. Her sudden disappearance left us all orphaned and sad.
Very much indeed, and I share your sadness and sorrow about Mirai. May she rest in peace. I'm sure as well that this journey, as much as it was, it knew some sad memories. I'm sure that it was also brightened by some joys, many joys, I would say. Can you share some of them with us?
I had so many joys during my journey. I will maybe tell you one of them. It was a very fun one in 2009 during the organization of the ICC North African Conference in 2009 in Tunis. And we had a main session dedicated to the future young practitioners. Professor Koshairi was there as participants. At the end of the session, he stood up and took the floor to say that after this session, he will be leaving the ICC peacefully because he's very confident about the future of arbitration in the MENA.
That's a great memory to have indeed. Any other memories, joyful memories that?
I think today it's a moment of joy. The opening of the case management office in Abu Dhabi, it's really a moment of joy for me, a moment of satisfaction. What a long way since the time when Lord Askish excluded the very primitive law of Abu Dhabi, according to him, to apply English law. And today, with the opening of the case management office in Abu Dhabi, making of the UAE a potential future international hub of arbitration.
That's amazing indeed. So the ICC is starting a new page in Abu Dhabi and in the region, and you are turning a page. You are turning the ICC page, right? So now what's next? What's coming next for Sami?
You know, Sana, I had a personal milestone since the beginning. The day the ICC will open a case management office, I will end my mission. I think today it's time to give the floor to the next generation. I will get back to the private practice. I will be looking for new challenges and new horizons. I will continue actually to do what I've been doing since 2005, practicing arbitration as counsel and as lawyer.
So thank you, Sami, for everything that you have achieved for the ICC and for international arbitration in the region. I'm sure the ICC is thankful to you. Anyone you would like to thank?
I cannot conclude, Sana, this pleasant interview without thanking my main partner during this journey. I mean with that, the entire arbitration community in the region, in Iran, in Turkey, the Mediterranean countries, and in Africa. Without their support and their determination, we couldn't be here today. So thank you to them. My thanks goes as well to the court members and to the YAF representatives, the entire region, and to the ICC entire staff. Thank you to all of them. Last but not least, I would like to thank Rania Al-Ani, my assistant, who has been supporting me since the beginning. Thank you to all of them again. And thank you to you, Sana, by the way, as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Sami, for your time and for having shared with us your journey with the ICC and all these beautiful achievements of the ICC in the region. We wish the best days yet to come to the ICC, to international arbitration in the region. And we hope to see you all next year for the 10th MENA conference, hopefully. Thank you, everyone.